What is going on? It is Nate the Game Guy coming back with another video. And guys, I got a question that I really want to ask, especially to the collectors that are watching this video. Why is nobody talking about this method or this strategy when it comes to collecting games? Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of videos out there where a lot of collectors are already talking about lots of great strategies when it comes to collecting video games, whether it's going to garage sales, estate sales, finding local deals on Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, their local thrift stores. All that stuff is fine and dandy, but nobody really talks about eBay lots. I mean, eBay lots are a great thing to essentially go after when it comes to building up your collection. And I'm not just talking about just buying eBay lots. I'm talking about other things that you can do when it comes to just lots in general on eBay when it comes to collecting video games. In this video, I plan to go more in depth into what exactly I'm talking about, and of course, ask even more why nobody is really talking about this. So without further ado, let's dive right into this video subject and take a look at what exactly do I mean when it comes to eBay lots and why there aren't very many collectors out there talking about this right after the intro. So I think it's important for me to break down some of the basics first before I dive right into the nitty-gritty details of this video. And that is, what exactly is an eBay lot? An eBay lot is essentially a listing on eBay where it could be multiple things of a specific type of item in a listing. That could be a lot of Ralph Lauren polo shirts. It could be a lot of horror movies. It could be a lot of romance novels. And of course, a lot of video games, whether it is for the PlayStation 2, the Sega Saturn, you name a game console out there, there's a lot out there for it. And essentially, as you can imagine, it's just a bundle of whatever thrown into one listing. That is what is called an eBay lot. So essentially, when you are going on eBay looking for lots, you just look for, say, PS2 lot or Dreamcast lot into the search bar, and you can essentially look to pay multiple different prices depending on what the seller is listing said listing for, and you can sometimes get a really great deal when it comes to lots. However, there are cases too, just because something is in a lot doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be getting a great deal. Now, one of my favorite ways to figure out if I'm getting a good deal on something is, say I find a listing of 10 games for $100. If you do the math, divide 100 by 10, because you're paying for 10 games out of 100, you're essentially paying $10 per game. And of course, you could check the sold listings on eBay to see, are you getting a deal? Is this a game that would normally sell for $20, $30 online, or are you actually getting it for less? And don't get me wrong, you can get tons of great deals when it comes to looking at your local yard sales and thrift stores. However, sometimes, when you are going to some of those places, you're not always going to be finding video games. And what's nice with these eBay lots, sure, most of the time, you're not going to be getting the crazy good deals that you'll be finding at something at a local yard sale or whatever. However, what is really nice about looking at eBay lots is the fact that you get to essentially look at these from the comfort of your own home. And there's also more that you can do with lots instead of just, buying something and having it take money out of your pocket and all that. A lot of collectors will also do, going back to yard sales, is they'll find games that they want and then they'll sell the ones that they don't want or whatever to make a profit to essentially pay for whatever they purchased at the yard sale. When it comes to some of those eBay lots, there is more to just, hey, you buy a lot and that's that. But of course, we're going to be going into some of those details of some of the beautiful things that you can do with some of those eBay lots. All right, so let's go into the specifics of what you can do with some of these eBay lots, right? Let's take, for example, the original Xbox, right? Say you find a lot on eBay, doesn't matter if it's an auction or a buy it now listing. Say it's got some games in there that you really would like to add to your collection, either because they're games that you really, really like and you want to play, or you're just going for a full set for the original Xbox. Say it's got some games in there, such as Blinx the Time Sweeper, Burnout 3 Takedown, Crash Wrath of Cortex, Fable, Halo, you get the idea. And say there's some games in there, either you have them in your collection already, or for whatever reason, you're just not interested in them, such as Amped, Counter-Strike, Enter the Matrix. Just to give an example, say you buy this listing, okay? Now, what you can do once you get this purchase over to your place, obviously once you add the games that you want into your collection, then when you're left off with our games that you weren't interested in earlier, such as Amped, Enter the Matrix, all that wonderful stuff, here's what you can do. What you can do is you could either save the games to create your own lot listing at some point, right? Or what you could do is check to see if any of those games are, if they're really worth anything. And if they're worth anything, you could either trade them in at your local game store, you could sell them online, all that wonderful stuff. That's just one thing that you could do. And of course, obviously, when you are buying multiple lots over time, essentially you're going to be ending up with some games that you either have already or you're just not interested in. And then you can just bundle those games together and then you can sell those off. Now, granted, that's a great way to save money. But of course, you're not going to be getting the killer deals that you would out of a yard sale. And essentially, if you really think about it, you're recouping some of what you've spent on your collection. And of course, with some of these lots, it's a great way to get some of these games cheaper than if you were to buy them individually online. Now, let's talk about something that you can do when it comes to lots that can be difficult, but it certainly can be done. Ask me how I know later on in this video. So what you can do, again, going with these lots, I'm not even going to be focusing on how much these specific games are at the moment. This is just purely for demonstration. Say we go back to our original Xbox lot. Obviously, you've got the games that you want. Blinx the Time Sweeper, Burnout 3, Fable, Halo, all that wonderful stuff. Now, what you can do, say you find a lot that you're interested in, right? Doesn't matter which console it's for. What I can do, or what you can do, is say you find some games in there, either you own them already, you're just not interested in them, go over to the eBay sold listings, look up to see, say for example, see how much like Amped, if it's worth anything. It's not worth that much in reality, but again, this is just for demonstration purposes. So let's just pretend, for the sake of argument, this is a $20 game. Say you find this game, it's worth about $20 after all the eBay fees and shipping and all that. You'll probably get about $10 to $12. Again, say you find another one that might be worth something, such as Enter the Matrix, Counter-Strike, but say it's like a really cheap buy it now listing, or even an auction, right? Again, this is becoming more difficult over the years, but it can happen depending on what type of listing you're looking at. Say you find the games that you're interested in, there's some games in there or enough games in there that you're not interested in. Sometimes what you can do, if you buy the lot cheap enough and you find some games in there that are worth a little something, what you can do is sell the games that you're not interested in individually online, and then what you can do is break even, where hopefully those games will pay off for all the other games that you added into your collection. But even in sometimes with the best case scenario, I've seen it happen with sometimes where you can do is you'll even make a small profit. Again, just a small profit, sometimes $10, $15, $20. Again, like, this isn't something for everybody, but you know, if you're somebody that wants to put in a little bit of some work and have some dedication to building up your collection, this is a great way to go about it. Now, of course, I want to share you guys a few examples of some of the things that I've done when it comes to some of these lots, when it comes to building up my own personal game collection. All right, so I'm not going to name a whole bunch of examples because this video will be extensively long, but I will name a few examples of some little bits of some lots that I've personally dealt with over the years when it comes to building up my collection. I remember I one time saw a lot several years ago. I want to say this was like 4 to 5 years ago, somewhere in that time frame, and it was an Xbox 360 lot, came with a bunch of games, and I remember one of the games included was Need for Speed Most Wanted, the 2005 release for the Xbox 360. This is a game that is worth about $60 to $70 complete in box because it is a relatively sought after game for the Xbox 360. I remember I purchased that lot, and I don't remember the exact amount of how much I paid for the lot because it's been so long now at this point. But I remember what I did was I purchased the lot. I made sure that the lot was not too expensive, but I still was getting a good deal on it. And I remember what I did was I sold my copy of Need for Speed for sale online, and essentially that game paid for the rest of the whole lot, plus all the other games that I sold that I wasn't interested in was pure profit, and all that profit was going right into buying more games and building up the game collection. And of course, another favorite thing that I did before, now this time it was on Facebook Marketplace, where it was a deal where it was being shipped over to me, but it wasn't a local pickup. Now, again, you don't have to use eBay lots for this strategy. The whole idea when it comes to this concept right here is purchasing something online where essentially you can get a good deal on something and trying to recoup some of your money back. Another favorite thing of mine that I did, again, this is with the exact same game. However, this time it was an Xbox 360 that came with a bunch of other games as well. And surprisingly, I do remember how much I paid for it. It was about $70 after taxes and all that. And it did come with Most Wanted, and I obviously already had an Xbox 360, so I sold the game. Now, the game didn't pay for my entire purchase yet because of all the eBay fees and all that, but once I sold that Xbox 360, I definitely got some profit and my money back, plus I added a whole bunch of games. And one of my favorite things that I like to do now is I like to do whenever I'm buying lots online, I will literally do is I will keep some of the games that either I already have already or they're just not in good enough condition for me to add into the collection. And what I'll do is I'll bundle them up together and I'll sell those lots, and I will try to recoup some of my money back. Now, again, with that strategy, I'm not getting all of my money back, but it is making my hobby a little more affordable just because I am getting some of that money back. I'm not breaking even, I'm not making a profit with that. But when it comes to like this whole strategy of buying either with eBay lots or Facebook or even like bundles that you could find on Mercari, I'm surprised this isn't something that more collectors talk about. I've definitely seen a collector here and there talk about them. That's how they build up their collection. But when it comes to some of the bigger channels out there, it's just something you just don't really hear about much. So I thought that would be something that I should probably share with you guys because I think it is a pretty helpful piece of advice. And I gotta say, I've really enjoyed building up my collection over the years, kind of doing these little things here and there when it comes to either Facebook Marketplace listings online or eBay lots, but you get the idea. Gotta say, it's worked out pretty all right for me over the years. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out my video. Please be sure to check out these videos here, here, and here. After all, I post a lot of content when it comes to game collecting tips, and other video game related subjects. So be sure to keep an eye out every Monday and Friday where I upload consistently, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.